Hello, please, and welcome to another episode of Tribe Central. My name is Dodgepong. My name is not Anarchy AO. Unfortunately, Anarchy wouldn't be with us tonight, but I'm here filling in, and I'm really excited to bring you guys an awesome show of Tribe Central. Of course, this show is about just recapping the last week in the NATribes Invitational, giving you guys just a recap of what went on. And I am joined by some awesome friends of mine. I got Jim Christ, Freaky, and APC. How are you guys doing tonight?
Great. I've never been
Awesome.
better.
Just for those of you, those of our viewers who don't know you guys, Jim Christ, do you mind giving yourself a quick introduction?
Putting me on the spot here, eh?
Yeah, you're bald. I'll
That's
start
right,
off with
man.
that.
Yeah. APC thinks I'm bald. I run the NAtribes community with the help of APC. Yeah, there you go.
Awesome. And Freaky, tell us a little bit about yourself as well.
I am a shoutcaster and founder of IBN, and captain and founder of Team 311.
Awesome. And Hi-Res APC, the illustrious man.
I am Hi-Res APC from Hi-Res, and I'm your community manager at Tribes Ascend. Hello, please.
Awesome. Well, welcome to you guys, and welcome to our viewers at home. Awesome. Yeah, so for those who aren't aware, NAtribes is just an organization of a few guys who are trying to get together and bring a little bit of organization to the NAtribes community. And we've got some awesome events that have been going on in the past. We, of course, have the NAtribes Invitational, which we're going to get to shortly, which we're going to be talking about. But before that, I just want to give a quick recap of some things that happened last week. Events this past weekend. We had some awesome New Bloods Pugs night. Did you guys have any chance to check those out or see what was going on with there?
I wasn't able to attend most of them, but they did go fairly well. A lot of different people out, new players especially, so that was exciting to see. I have been told 2 new teams formed, so that's also very exciting to see 2 new teams in the Tribes community.
Absolutely.
As well as more people playing pickups earlier tonight, than I think we have had in the past month or two, so that's good to see.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, New Bloods is the term that we kind of use in the Tribes community to talk about new players. And we always love to bring in some new players to show them how the game is played in a more organized setting. So if you're at all interested in learning how to play in a more organized way, check out playapug.com. But yeah, as you said, we got 2 new teams who formed last night out of those New Bloods Pugs. We got Sinfuser is one of them, comprising of, I think, A-Sin, who's their captain. I think it's Screw Crew. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Crutonic, Haxor, Fenrir, Linferno, ZK Theory, Ysen, and Yavin. And the other team was Discus Eternitas, made up of White Rock, Diablo GTX, Shenanigans, Pataclocked, Raptor Jesus, Tofux. And yeah, I'm excited that we got some new players in the scene. We got some new players coming to play some Tribe. And yeah, welcome to you guys. Hello, please. Welcome to Tribes.
That is always good to see, and that's the whole point of these pickups. Like last week was to get people, interested into not only the game but to get familiar with the community, and it was very successful as we had a full server full of New Bloods. And then this week we had a full server of like New Bloods playing pickups, and that's just step them up to, okay, now you're casual players with competitive players. Now you're going to become a competitive player, and if you're going to make a team, that means you want to be that competitive player. So it's cool to see that they're ready to take that step.
Yeah, of course, NAtribes is all about just bringing in some new players and showing people how awesome Tribes can be as a competitive game. So I am stoked to see these guys as they play. But of course, NAtribes or New Blood pickups last night, that was this past weekend. But more importantly, well, maybe not more importantly, but maybe the main event last weekend was, of course, week 2 of the NAtribes Invitational Tournament. And we're just here to give some recap now of those games in case you didn't get a chance to catch them, and just give a little bit of feedback on those games themselves. Talk about some of the strategies that went on and how they played out. So the Invitational is split up into 2 groups. We have a Group A with 4 teams and a Group B with 4 teams. And Group A's matches last week started off on Monday with Need for Speed versus Monomaniacs. And yeah, let's see, how would that game turn out? I actually didn't have a chance to see it myself.
Well, it was, the score was a little untelling. It was 7-0 MME all maps, but it was still actually a lot of fun to watch. NFS was able to move the flag a little bit, keep it kind of action-oriented, and NFS decided to have a little fun on map 3. But map number 1, Katabatic, 7-0 MME. Something's to be learned about the coordination of escorting of MME. It was... Wherever the capper went, he always had at least 2 or 3 escorts going. We're watching now, NFS again on Crossfire, trying just about anything, having some fun. This is 2 brutes in a grav bike, doing a little grav bike offense. The coordination for MME was the difference in the game for all 3 maps. Once they got the strike up on Katabatic, it was pretty much game over. Hatui was able to clear the sniper, and it was just clean grabs from then on. Let's see, on to the next one, Dangerous Crossing. It was 7-0 MME, but it was obvious who had skirmed the map more, and they were sending 5 offense during flag standoffs, and there was a bit where NFS actually held their own against it. It was almost 6 minutes long. What else was it? Oh, also Hatui MVP on Katabatic and on Zato on DX for MME was the MVP, because Rhetorist, the Hoff for NFS, just could not stay alive with all this host spam from Zato. Doing a good job with Jug. I'm a little surprised they didn't use their offense to try to clear him out a little bit on the way out, but not so much there. Let's see. Oh yeah, after that lengthy standoff, NFS just couldn't get back on the track, and MME got 2 quick caps after that, while NFS was still trying to recuperate. And then on Crossfire, it was just it was all trolls. NFS turtled in their gen room. They had 7 on D at one point. They upgraded everything to 4. They were just having fun, but MME still, again, capped out 7-0.
Yeah, there's questions about that on Crossfire with them upgrading those turrets to 4. It's just like, wait, you're disqualified. You can't do that. That's not true. The rules state that once you do upgrade your turrets, you can no longer repair them. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you could use it as your own strategic measures. So if you want to upgrade them and it's your last resort kind of thing, which is what they clearly were trying to do as they were getting they were getting beat, I don't see a problem with it. When all else fails, why not try something new? And I do like how they like to try different things with the grav bike. They don't just give up, and that's the beauty of it. Some teams get really discouraged when it comes to situations like that. But NFS really shows that they're here to play. And there's so many times that they should have got a point. You're rooting for them because MME is the top dog, and NFS really gets the grabs at times where they can be like, oh, this is it. This is when they're going to grab a flag or cap a flag, and they just said that they weren't able to do one on either map. But again, like you said in the beginning, Freaky, is that they really did give their best shot at it.
Yeah, MME was on top of their game. Their everything, the offense was synced up. Sniper was just shooting everybody down. They were in top form. It was unfortunate for NFS.
Yeah, I mean, NFS is a team that has impressed me quite a bit just in their quality of play. They're a relatively new team, and in fact, them being in this tournament at all was kind of a fluke, replacing Epidemic at the last minute. But yeah, I've been really impressed with them, and unfortunate that they had to go down 7-0, 7-0, 7-0, but props to them, and I'm still looking forward to seeing them play past the tournament. And they're not done yet. They got some more games coming up next week.
I think it's definitely interesting to see what Need for Speed will bring in the future. I mean, starting from, as Warrior Nation, down low on the ladder in TWL, they've worked their way up to the top 8. They've made some impressive showings in this tournament, although they have not played super strong against Mono or ZFC. Definitely impressive showings both times, considering who they were up against. So I think it's very, very exciting to see what they will do in the future.
Absolutely. Next, after Need for Speed versus Mono, that was on Monday in Group A. The other Group A match was Vexillifer versus ZFZ, and that match I think was a lot closer. Tell us about that one.
I'll let Freaky start this one off again since he seemed to have a solid start with the first one.
You can. Who had the notes for this one?
All right, so with ZFZ versus Vex, looking at the scores again, we'll start off with Kata, 6-2. ZFZ really showing that they are a dominant team in the league, but Vex, being a veteran team, they had their chances, and they actually capitalized on a couple times where you really thought, they have a good-looking team, and you're surprised that they only got 2 caps at times. I guess what we're watching right now is, 9-9 from ZFZ, which is a classic. He's been a player from ZFZ from day one. Grabbing it from the back, really good coordinated offense for him to grab it off the flag and being able to have most of his health. Vex just trying to get that flag away from the stand because they know that they need to, at all costs, get the flag off the stand. And that's what I like about Vex is that, they have their priorities and they need to know that they can get the E-grab. I think the thing that they're lacking is really making that offense really strong to get the capper out at every time that they please. And so this gave the ZFZ the opportunity to hold off on the standoff and just wait. There you go again with Vex trying to get another E-grab. They're good at crashing at the stand, which is really something a lot of teams don't have. They stand out on that, but ZFZ, again, being the top team, taking the caps on the board. There's the first one.
And I think we saw all throughout the games with Vex definitely strong, impressive play by Vex and ZFC, or by Vex specifically against ZFC.
Yeah, no, Vex. Katabatic was actually an awesome map. It was back and forth. It was a 1-0 ZFC, then 1-1, then 2-1, then 2-2, and then ZFC just pulled it together and just went on a capping frenzy. Final score was 62. But one thing that caught me by surprise was Vex's flag play seemed a little lazy. They got the flag back, and if Dodge, if you want to forward to that replay spot I had, 134.22, we'll see what we mean. It's like 3 minutes of them trying to get this flag up on the flags and out crossfire, and they just couldn't do it. The crash by ZFC was just all over the place. This happened also on Katabatic, where ZFC had 4 people come in, one right after the another, and Vex could just not control the flag, and they eventually got a lucky conk and a quick return. But yeah, this part right here was just hard to watch.
Yeah, it seems that these teams that are competing against, ZFZ, MME, Tau, the ones that we look at as like the top 3 teams, the teams are going against them, such as, let's say, NFS or MIA or Vex, that they're an upcoming team. And I'm not just saying that because I want to give positive reinforcement. They really are. You could see signs every week of them growing. And it just, the things that hurt them are things like you're saying, how, we're showing how they cannot get the flag up onto the stand. You see that with a lot of newer teams. It's almost like the nerves are getting to them, or they just can't get that last bit of the point in. And it hurts your team. I mean, right there, if you can't score, then you're not going to move farther in the game. But you have enough skill to get there. So, enough fine-tuning in each team will bring them up higher. And, what we were seeing right there is a perfect example in Vex's eyes.
I think what it ultimately comes down to is a lot of these teams have kind of the skill and the ability to play the game at that level. They just don't have the practice for certain situations. Like standoffs and crashes, they're not necessarily the easiest thing to practice, and they're not what teams are going to get the most practice from. So I think in a few months, or hopefully a shorter time, a month or two, we'll see these teams kind of, as they scrim more, as they play more games, they get better and better at those points of the games. Because when you watch these games with them against Mono or ZFC, really the reason that they are getting beat is because on those plays they can't get the flag back, or they can't keep the enemy flag secure.
Yeah, here's the part I was talking about. It took them forever, and I think ZFC actually, they ended up getting the return, but it's just the inability to have the flag, pick it up, and people cover them, and she almost there, didn't have the energy, died on this. Yeah, it was brutal to watch, but ultimately fun to cast.
It's not uncommon to see something like this, as we
Especially on
I've done
Crossfire.
it in my day too. I remember trying to pass it up. I saw on Dangerous Crossing the dun- 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 dun-
Yeah.
dun, like as some teams trying to get up. I forget, it was back in the day against Legion. And then, I remember Fire doing this like a week or two ago, trying to toss it up to the stand and miss. Every team has their moments with it. It just you got to learn. You just got to step above that and try to learn past that. I'm hoping if there's any teams that are listening now that are the newer ones, the two newer ones, and specifically, is you just learn from what we're telling you right now. Like everybody has this happen to them. So if you scrim someone and this happens, or if you lose 7-0, 7-0, 7-0, don't let that discourage you. You're not the only one. You got to make your ways up. So just know that teams get better as they go on. And again, I'm not just saying it. It's so clear that these teams, as they play more, they're learning the game more, and they have fun doing it. As long as you have fun doing it, there's no other point of not playing.
I do want to bring up one point though. The scores for this were 6-2 ZFC. Was it 4-0 on DX if in favor of ZFC. Vex pulls out Crossfire 4-2, and my MVP was actually Tasty Ham with his infiltrator capping. ZFC just didn't have an answer for it.
Yeah, I mean, we're saying all these things about flag play and making sure it's important, and it's definitely true that in that case, Vex could have improved. But having said that, they did win Crossfire.
And it's definitely nice to see them win it and see a team like Vex take some maps off CFC. I mean, it really, really shows that all the hard work they've put into this game, all the practice and time is really starting to pay off.
Agreed. Well, moving on, we got to keep these things moving. We have the Group B match. First Group B match this week was on Tuesday with Egocentric versus Tau of Tribe, and that was definitely a close match for sure. Tell us a little bit about that one.
I guess I'll talk about that one. So I think Dry Dock, the first map, both sides really, really strong defense. Tau's running a technician at the start of the game, which is something they've done in the past. I'm not sure if I've seen him do it on Dry Dock before, but I'm sure they have. So both teams with a really solid defense. Ego, some nice play out of them as well. We saw some nice cluster play by them. Not sure if this is that clip or not, but managing to get that flag home and actually getting into the first standoff of the game. Yes, I think this is that clip. So Ego actually, very nice play by them. They cluster the flag home, get into a standoff, and actually win, which is really nice to see. Ego, I've said in the past, when casting games, I don't think their standoff play is necessarily as strong as teams like Tau, but I assume they have been working on it, because that's very nice to see them win that standoff and score the first point. Unfortunately for them, after that, the game kind of went downhill. Tau was able to tie the game and get up by 2 points, at which point Ego just could not really catch up again. A lot of things as pointed out by the casters as well were things like the routes Ego chose to run may not have been that smart against a capper, or against a sniper like Immune. Things like the low to high route, perhaps not the best on Dry Dock. A lot of teams have started to favor the kind of slow start, static back routes. Tartarus was the next game they played, and kind of a slow game, especially for a map like Tartarus where the routes are so fast and it's so easy to kind of clear the stand and get the flag out. Tau managed to get up a point. They tried dual capper, but Ego actually had a surprisingly strong defense against dual capper, which is certainly not an easy thing to do on a with a stand like Tartarus's where it's so open. Both teams, tons of trouble scoring points. The first point was scored after 5 minutes, and then the next point was Ego tying it up with 6 minutes left. So it looked like it was going to go into overtime and being so slow, but Tau actually scores a point with 5 seconds left, and that kind of ended that map with Tau taking their second win in the series.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising on Tartarus in general, is because a lot of people are saying like, oh, Tartarus, it's back grabs and you can't chase it, so GG. And this game, this round was kind of like the change of pace of what people are usually used to for this map.
Well, what's interesting, I think, about Tartarus is that, yeah, it seems like a big map, but the offense, the clear offense, can get across the map in about 15 seconds. But to get those back routes, it takes the capper at least 30, 35 to get back there and in route. That's why it probably seemed a little slow.
Yeah, I'm looking right there, and they had the generators up over there on the egocentric side. You've seen that every single time they play, is they really like to depend on those generators, and it's been a rough path for a lot of teams to go against that. It's something different. It's something that usually you don't practice against. So having that turret coming at you when you're coming in from that route, when you're usually used to flying by and it being down, it changes the game a little bit, and I think that also plays a factor in this.
For sure. Moving on to Arx Novena. Ego had a very strong defense at the start. The first point scored again 17 minutes in, so another really, really slow game of Tribes. Partially, I assume, because of Ego running a D-stack, so most of the game was played with 4 defensive players for Ego and then 3 offensive players. So at no point was there really a whole lot of clear being accomplished for either team. Tau, fortunately for them, was able to break a standoff later in the game and score a second point. And an interesting thing to note I thought about this game was, with Ego running the D-stack, they had a very weak offense going in. They had 2 people on offense and then 1 capper, and that was it. And so Reticle actually spent a lot of the game not near the stand defending. He would actually seek out David Bowie running routes and try and kill him before he even had a shot to get at the flag. So definitely an interesting strategy by Tau there to turn kind of Ego's D-stack against them.
Yeah, and just looking at the scores of these games, I unfortunately didn't have a chance to watch this myself as it was out, but just looking at the scores as I was preparing for tonight, it's pretty amazing just how close they were. Arx Novena...
Yeah, no cap-outs.
Yeah, no cap-outs. I mean, Tartarus, as you said, Tau won with 5 seconds to spare. And most of the games where they were close or slow at the beginning, they didn't really start to get away until probably toward the last 10 minutes or even 5 minutes. So they were really great games, very close. Ego and Tau, definitely some good teams. So but Egocentric did lose all of them, so that would be 6 points for Tau for the actual standings.
Yeah, this match was a little slow, but they were so evenly matched. It was actually a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it's going to show that Ego does have that strong defensive position, and it's working out for them for the most part. Maybe they're not winning like games and all, but they're not letting the other team cap out on them, and they're getting a couple caps on their ends, at least 1 cap per map. So if they could just kick it up a little bit more on their end, then they could start tying it up, or at least being able to force overtime and let it go from there. So again, another improving situation for them there.
Indeed. Lastly, just moving along here, we have the last game in Group B, which was Beacon Stop versus MIA. And that was actually a game that I got to cast with Sadokist. And let's hear a little bit about that one as well.
All right, I actually skimmed through that right before this one because that was a game that I didn't get to catch. MIA versus Best, you would think Beacon Stop is the favored one over there, which they did win the first map. We'll start off on Dry Dock, and it did not look like they were gonna lose. It didn't look like MIA was gonna lose to Beacon Stop as much as they did, because it started off with like a 1-1 score. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up here. Then, but it just looked like MIA was putting up a solid fight. It's kind of like what we were looking at Ego. Instead of Ego putting up the defenses and doing the tech, MIA looked like a professional team on the defensive end. They were able to stop cappers. They were able to call them out, snipe them out, but it just seemed like Beacon Stop was just ahead of them on each spectrum of the game when it came to... They seemed like to be a little bit better on defense, a little bit better on escorting, a little bit better on the sniping end. And you would notice exactly what I'm talking about if you go through the VODs. it's like you'll see the flag go down in midfield, and MIA would put in a good fight in the midfield, killing a couple people before they can get that grab again. But then ultimately, Beacon Stop will get the return. It's the only thing that they were struggling with on Dry Dock was getting it past midfield. It was solid defense, I would say, on Beacon Stop. A really well put out performance with them. Silver Chaos surprising the hell out of me. His sniping has been better than I've ever seen, and I can't see him. I can't imagine why he can't be a top sniper in the game. He was really putting on those clutch snipes when he needs to. That was so the score ended up being 6-1 on that. Then moving into Tartarus again, a map that you see a lot of back routes. We did see a couple back routes going on through this map, but MIA again, they put out a good start in the first place. They started off by leading the game with the first cap, and it was a great initial showing that they put in. But it was just that the defense could not stop the back grabs. It seemed like every time Beacon Stop had a good clear run into the stand, they couldn't stop them. MIA kind of struggled on doing it. And I feel like that's something that was their weakness. Is maybe it's they don't play Tartarus enough, but it was evident that their defense was holding them back, because once that flag left the stand, it caused all the players to come out of their positions on the offensive end and even extend out a little more on the defensive end, trying to get an E-grab, trying to force that flag off the stand at least. And the cappers just could not get any clear because that was going on each time. So again, it looked like Beacon Stop was the favored one there, which was so, as they won that map 7-1. They were able to cap that out, completely different from the one we saw from Tau versus Ego, which was 2-1 going into overtime, which is why I made that comment a couple minutes ago. But MAA, they're strong on their standoffs. Actually, it was funny. I don't know if we have the clip, but it ended up being that MIA had the standoff. They were clean with it. They had the defenders. They're covering the flag carrier. Link would come in for a sonic punch, knock it off, but they would kill Link. They'll pick up the flag again. Derpies would come in with a sonic punch, knock the flag out, but not get the return. So they were really strong on their standoffs. Really, maybe not using a scrambler and keeping the flag in their hands, but they're able to kill the chasers coming in. And then quickly to go over arcs, again taken by Beacon Stop. So Beacon Stop won all 3 maps. But it was the battle of the back grabs, as you may guess. MIA really showed improvement as they seem to improve in every aspect in the game. It's just, again, they just a little bit behind on Beacon Stop, and I can only see good things coming out of them. They actually seem like they were the most valuable team when it comes to a newer team or a team that's not in the top tier of the TWL ladder, really moving their way up. I think they were the most impressive showing on that end.
Yeah, it was definitely exciting to see those matches. Very unfortunately, I believe the last bit of MIA versus Beacon Stop on Arx Novita got cut off due to a computer crash.
It was my fault. That was me. Oh my gosh. I feel I was so mad about that. My computer just completely melted down, and that was completely my fault. Sadokist was able to jump in and cast the last 5 minutes, and it was an amazing ending too, because I think it was Beacon Stop grabbed because they were down 4-5, and they grabbed to push it into overtime, and then they got the cap, so it was 5-5 overtime, and then they just came back with some amazing play and pulled it off 6-5. It looked there for a while like MIA was going to take a map off Beacon Stop, but they ended up pulling it out at the end. And I'm sorry about that. I've done a lot of changing to my streams the last couple days, and hopefully in the future that's not going to happen again. But yeah, I'm really sorry about that, guys.
Blame X split.
Dodgeball and killing tribes, huh?
Dodgeball and killing tribes, exactly.
I think ultimately what we saw this week was teams in general going up against teams which most people would consider to be much stronger than them, or at least in the past would have considered to be much stronger than them. And I think all of those teams really, really showed that they are very, very close to being able to kind of take maps and take series off these top teams. And that is really, really exciting to me. I think we have a lot of up-and-coming teams which are finally getting to that point where they can challenge these teams.
Yeah.
And they could take notes. I mean, whenever you play someone better than you, even if they're significantly better than you could start taking notes on what they did, and maybe trying to practice towards that, or even take notes from yourself, saying like, all right, guys, we were really weak on the offensive end, but as you could tell, we were able to hold them back for a couple of caps. So this is what we need to work on. We need to work on our coordinated caps. We need to work on our clearing, and I think it's a good opportunity to them, regardless of the scores.
Yeah, and since Hi-Rez are bitches and didn't put in demos,
Whoa.
hey now, come on, no demos. Streaming really helps in having a video to watch, and you can take notes from that as well. But also what you said, Jim, it's really exciting to see teams like Vex and MIA doing so well against those top-tier teams.
Totally agree.
All in all, I think it was a very exciting week of Tribes.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
And I think you only say that because it's named after you.
The Gym Invitational.
Technically, it's not named after me, PC.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, just going back over those results then, since this is the group play portion of the tournament, the way scoring works is that if you win a map, you get 2 points for that map. If you tie a map, you get 1 point, and if you lose, you get 0 points. So going over those results, NFS versus MME won all 3 maps, so they got 6 points from that. And ZFC versus Vex, ZFC won 2 maps, so they got 4 points. And Vex won a map, so they got 2 points. Tau won all 3 maps, so they got 6 points. And Beacon Stop barely won all 3 maps, almost lost that last one, but pulled out the 6 maps. And due to the way that turn those off. Due to the way that it comes out, we have actually the people who will be going on to the finals bracket. So we do still have one more week of Tribes matches, and I actually think that this next week of Tribes matches could be some of the best matches we have yet. But we have the top 2 teams in each group, so it'll be Monomaniacs and ZFZ, who are both going to be going on to the finals single elimination bracket, and Tau Tribe and Beacon Stop. Now, having said that, coming up here next week, we have all of those top teams playing each other, as well as the bottom teams playing each other. So we're going to see who actually gets seeded into how they actually get seeded into that finals bracket. So let's take a look at that as it's coming up here.
Just to, I can go a bit more in depth into that, Dodge, and kind of our current standings regarding those 4 top teams. So our current leader for first place here is Monomaniacs, and that is based off a score differential, which is used as a tiebreaker. So that is their points scored minus the points they've given up to teams they played against. They're currently sitting at 36. The closest kind of contender for that spot in second is Tau, the Tau of Tribe, at 31, and then ZFZ currently in third with 27. Oh no, sorry, that is a mistake. That is a mistake. Beacon Stop is actually in third with a... Oh, jeez. I'm making myself look like a fool. I think I'm reading the wrong numbers here.
Oh my God.
Mono in first with a 29-point score differential. And followed up by Tau with 26. ZFZ in third with 16. And then Beacon Stop finishing off at 15. So these two next games are really, really important for both of these groups. We'll see Mono versus ZFZ and Beacon Stop versus Tau. What this is really going to come down to is not only who wins points in the sense of winning maps, but also who wins points in the sense of their caps scored. So it'll definitely be exciting to see. Beacon Stop sitting at that 11 point is at a disadvantage going in, because they are 1 point short in the sense of the tournament. But I mean, it's still really anyone's game regarding the seeding for the final tournament. Of course, the first seeding is probably the most desired, because it will put you up against the 4th seed to start off with. So all of these teams are going to have to kind of fight for that.
Indeed. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here, though. Let's go ahead and talk about each of these maps, each of these matchups, and see what you guys are predicting is going to happen. We do have a little bit of a different schedule this week. The past couple of weeks we've been doing 1 game per night, but because of Thanksgiving in the U.S., we've decided to move up to do 2 games tomorrow on Monday and 2 games on Tuesday. So we're going to have games at 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. tomorrow and games at 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. on Tuesday. So let's go ahead and talk about the games that are happening tomorrow. We're going to lead off with Egocentric versus MIA at 8 p.m. And they're going to be playing on Drydock Tartarus and Arx Novena. What do you guys think is going to come out of that game?
Really defensive game I see there, as we've been pointing out, that Ego, really being the team that uses the Technician outfit the most. But MIA, I think, has like most professional-looking defense out of the two, I would say. So I think it's going to be a fun game, regardless of it being more of a defensive game.
Yeah, actually, I think Ego's gonna come out on top, but I think it's gonna be a really close game on all 3 maps. Definitely.
Jim,
If I had to make a prediction, I think I would. I'm going to go with MIA. I'm rooting for MIA.
All right.
I think my prediction would have to be Ego for this upcoming game. I will see. MIA definitely has a shot at taking a map off them. Ego will take at least 2, though.
I'd be interesting to see how the 2 teams actually go about Tartarus, not being a map that's played often, and the strats are still trying to be figured out a little bit there, and some routes.
I wonder if that's actually the right maps. I think I might have got that wrong. That's the maps that they played last week. Let me actually.
Maps will be their maps for Group B game will be Katabatic, Stonehenge, and Crossfire.
Oh, my mistake. So we're going to see Stonehenge. That'll be interesting. Let's see. Have you guys seen Stonehenge played competitively very much?
Recently, yeah.
Yeah.
How has that tended to play out?
It seems like that's actually a game that it seems more of a cluster strategy. You might see a Capra coming through in here and there, but it just seems like it's really a lot easier to just take the flag, bring it down the front hill, and have someone behind you try to follow you. As long as you make it down that first hill and start going uphill and just punt it over that main middle hill, then that's when the advantage starts to go to the other team, and you start clustering from there.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if either team uses the middle tower for some spam.
Yeah, I believe we saw ZFZ use that in their game. But the thing I think that's really interesting about Stonehenge is it seems to be the map that the underdog team has done well on, like best on the so far in this tournament. So I'm curious to see what'll happen in Ego versus MIA on that map specifically.
Yeah, and again, that is going to be tomorrow at 8 p.m. And following it right afterwards is going to be ZFZ versus Need for Speed at 10. And I believe we do have confirmed that it's going to be Doc Lettuce casting that. And I actually do have the correct maps here.
Sorry, that's
going to be...
That's Vex.
What did I say? Did I say ZFZ? That's what they played. That's what we had.
That's what they played last week.
There we go. Oops, that wasn't resized correctly. We have Vex versus Need for Speed. There we go. We're good now.
That's going to be probably the most difficult game to predict, as I see both these teams are, I would say, almost on the same level. As NFS is a little new compared to Vex. It seems like NFS really stepped it up a bit and can really compete with Vex. I'm not going to predict. I can't predict that one. I don't know.
It's going to be a tough one because I think NFS has the better defense and Vex has the better offense. So it's going to be really interesting. That's going to be a fun match to cast. I'm kind of jealous of Doc.
I think this is actually one of the most exciting games in the tournament because it is the two kind of underdog teams, really underdog teams who have both played very strongly. They're in the same division. They both played really strongly against Mono and ZFC, so I think that's one of the most exciting games in the tournament right there. See which one of them is going to come out on top.
Yeah, again, no one's picking any teams for this?
I'll go out there. I'll make a prediction. I'm going to predict Need for Speed this one. I think they're going to take it.
I'm going to go ahead with Vex. I think the play of Implosions is going to be the difference maker.
How about you, Dodgebomb?
I'm going to go ahead and say Vex as well, but more because I've been really impressed with Tasty Ham's capping. I think he is an extremely strong capper, blazing trails in that soldier role, and yeah, I think he's a really strong capper. I am going to give it to Vex this week.
Yeah, it
should
seems
be
like
close,
everyone's
though.
favoring Tasty Ham for being like the best capper in NA at the moment. I'm
Really.
starting to see that a lot. That he's really like the only competitive capper. I've seen that on IRC the past couple days. So let's see if he's the one.
Yeah, we'll have
There
to
is
see.
no spoon.
And that game is going to be tomorrow again at 10 p.m. We have 2 games, 8 p.m. and 10, Ego versus MIA, and then Vex versus NFS. But Tuesday, we have another game. We have some incredible games coming up on Tuesday. Don't miss out on these. Starting at 8 p.m., we have ZFC versus MME. And that will definitely be a game for the ages. What do you guys think is going to happen with that one?
First off, is anybody else getting background noise at the moment?
I think someone might have unmuted. Oh, there we go.
There we go. Okay, so it is going to be the game of the tournament. It's going to be the decider because they're both separate divisions.
No, they're in the same division.
No, the same division. Sorry. So they would be the battle of who takes that division essentially. But go ahead, Jim. You're going to say something?
Yes, I am. That game is hugely important because ZFZ needs to put up a strong showing. Later that night, Beaconstop and Tau are going to play. And depending on how well Beaconstop does against Tau, ZFZ is going to need a certain amount of points in order to stay in at least third place as far as seats for the finals are concerned. And so, I mean, if they do very poorly against Mono, then first round of the tournament, chances are they're going to be playing Mono again. And they very likely might get knocked out at that point. So in order for them to try and fight for that second place spot, they are going to need to do well against Mono tomorrow.
So the maps are Arc, Sunstar, and Drydock, and we see MME their first times playing like these newer maps, so like Stonehenge. When it started to come into the competitive cycle, they're not the strongest team on it at first, but then quickly catch up to what the meta is for the map and start to dominate it. Now, do we see this team playing Sunstar a lot? This is something that I'm dying to see, and I think MME will take it in the long run, but I think ZFC may have the chance. I'm going to say ZFC is going to win Sunstar as MME wins Arcs and Drydock convincingly.
I mean, you know, Sunstar, I haven't seen Sunstar played competitively in a long, long time. But I think that is one of those maps that's going to require a very strong cluster play to win. And both of those teams have really strong cluster play, but I think Mono's is definitely stronger than ZFZ's. So I think they might have the advantage on Sunstar at least.
It'll definitely be an interesting match to watch. We haven't seen Sunstar in a long time, and it's fun to see it come up in this tournament. That's one of the things that I like about this tournament is that it's forcing some teams to play some new maps. I know I've heard a lot of good feedback on Tartarus from teams who've finally given that map a shot.
Yeah, I would actually like to see how Ego plays Sunstar, as I'm saying how they're really tech heavy for the most part, and that's a map that I think is the most essential for a tech. As you have that force field around the flag, the turret that's right there on the right side of the base. I'm dying to see how Ego will play that. But again, that's pointless at this moment as we're talking about ZFZ versus MME.
Actually, Ego won't be playing it. They'll be playing Catabatic, Stonehenge, and Crossroad. But Vex and NFS will be playing Sunstar because they're in the same group as ZFC and MME. So Vex and NFS will be playing Arcs, Novena, Sunstar, and Drydock, as will ZFC, MME. And Ego and MIA and Tau and Beaconstop will be playing Catabatic, Stonehenge, and Crossfire. But yeah, I mean, I'm just really excited to see some Sunstar because it's been a long time since we've seen it. And Jim Christ, are you alive?
I'm back. Don't worry, all is well. Video froze, I thought. Apparently not.
Actually, I hadn't noticed. It's okay. I still like Jim.
I'm sure it will be fine. Don't worry. We'll carry on.
He's still bald. No problem. All right, Freaky, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm sure we'll get. You know what? Let's just go ahead and move on to the next one while we're waiting for Jim. Unless Freaky, did you have anything else you wanted to say about ZFC and MME?
It's going to be a good one. I'm actually looking forward to watching that one. I think MME is going to take it. They might lose one map, but MME overall.
Do you agree with me that it's going to be Sunstar if that's the map?
I think so, yeah. That'd be the one. Who the hell plays that frickin' map anyway?
Well, we are going to see it tomorrow and Monday and Tuesday, so that'll be great. Tune in, 8 p.m., 10 p.m. And then the last match of the group play in the NATribes Invitational is going to be Tau of Tribe versus Beacon Stop. And
God,
this
so
one
much
as
esports.
well, it's just going to be so much esports, man. That's what I'm telling you, man. Tuesday is going to be an incredible series of games. How do you think this is going to play out? We got Cataback, Stonehenge, Crossfire, two of these teams at the top of their group. I think it might go either way. What do you guys think?
This map cycle is really good. Catabatic, as you know, it's really coordinated with. You have to have a coordinated offense to get that flag off the stand. It's bigger than, let's say, Crossfire and Stonehenge, the rest of the maps in their series. So, it's a different type of gameplay. It's a different meta. Then moving into Stonehenge, it's more of a cluster style that you can run a couple cap routes here and there. But again, as we talked about earlier, Stonehenge is more of a cluster, bring it home, make it at least halfway through. If you make it halfway, there's a good chance you bring it all the way home. And then standoffs usually are really long or longer in this map. And then Crossfire is a little bit, okay, it's more cluster, but you see teams still running routes on a consistent basis. They don't really rely on clustering unless they have to. You still see people coming over the head of the ship. So I'm excited to see these three maps being the ones to decide this matchup between Tau and Beacon Stop. But seeing how Tau has been performing recently, I think they're going to be the ones that take it.
APC claims Tau. How many maps? Do you think it'll be 3-0, 2-1?
Man.
Come on, tell the future, man.
3-0. I'm going to say 3-0.
All right. How about you, Freaky?
Actually, I think Beacon Stop might take Stonehenge. And I think their Hoff franchise is going to be the difference there. But I think Tau will win 2 maps.
I think I'm going to have to agree with Freaky there. I think Beacon Stop is going to win Stonehenge.
Oh, thanks, Jim.
I said before, I think we've seen incredibly strong play from the underdogs in each matchup on Stonehenge, and I'm going to guess that that's going to continue. So, I think 2 for Tau, and that Stonehenge will go to Beacon Stop. That's just my prediction.
I can't wait to prove you wrong.
Wow.
No, Jim, just keep the koala up. It's much easier on the eyes.
Thank you. I didn't want to say it.
Wow. Rude.
I love you, dude.
As long as it doesn't mess up
All
my
right.
overlay. Man. Well, I believe that is
Probably will.
it for the matches. Yeah, definitely tune in tomorrow for we
I
have
think-
Egocentric. Whoa, what was that?
Sorry, I think we have a couple more things to talk about after the matches, though, correct?
Right, yes, that's it for
Okay.
the matches. We have a couple other things that we've got on. My overlays are all messed up. Oh
Way to be
well.
Jim.
At least you see some koala there. That's fine. But yeah, make sure you guys tune in tomorrow for Egocentric versus MIA at 8, and Vex versus NFS at 10, and then Tuesday for ZFC versus MME and Tau of Tribe versus Beacon Stop. Guys, these are going to be some of the best games of the tournament, I think, coming up tomorrow and Tuesday.
Yeah, so stock up on your Hot Pockets, your popcorn, your Dr. Pepper.
Top ramen.
It's going to be a nice nerd out weekend, or weekdays. Well, not even weekend. Then we go into Thanksgiving. What a freaking great week.
And then it's all about football and stuffing your face. One thing I do want to just mention before we move on is all the matches we've been talking about, the recap and the upcoming matches. If you missed them, they're all on the page that you can watch at any time. Just under what you're watching now, there's a little video tab, and they're all right there.
Yeah, IBN1 is your source to get all these games. Follow IBN so you can catch the games when they go live. You'll get a little email. Um, and yeah, it's a lot of esports going on. But oh no, now things are really bad. Jim, have we lost Jim? Let me see if we can get it back.
No big loss there anyway, so who cares?
Wow, this
Well, if
guy
anything,
he's there.
Jim Christ got a lot sexier.
Jesus. You're not supposed to be there.
Freaky. All right. Let's keep going.
Okay. I'll just it's okay. We're gonna see some people cut in half. It'll be great.
I'll continue for the time being.
That's fine. Go for it.
I think we're just doing plugs now, anyways. Talking about a couple things going up. So as we said, double headers Monday and Thursday starting at 8 p.m. Second games at 10 p.m. Definitely the games to watch. As those are kind of the deciding matches, at least for the seed for the finals bracket. There we have probably some pub games continuing Monday to Thursday. Some of those pub nights we've ran, they might be a little weird as far as scheduling on Monday and Tuesday, just because obviously there are tournament games starting earlier and we'd like to try and avoid overlapping those. Moving on, we have some workshops coming this weekend, advanced workshops actually, so you'll be able to kind of improve some of the more difficult aspects of your competitive or pub tribes play. And then, of course, some sites to let you all know about. Of course, check out NAtribes.com. Hopefully, we will have some more varied and content there, as we are still looking for more content creators.
I could tell you one thing. I'm working with Beast Knees right now, as well as Custodian, and we're working on a few things, especially when it comes to. I'll talk about the draft tournament in a second, but when it comes to like the events page, we're going to have a nice events page where you guys not only can see all the NAtribes events that we have going on, from pub nights to the finals to whatever we have going on in the future, but also what's going on in the European scene, all the Game Shrine games, all the ESL games, as well as the Oceanic community. So you'll see when their finals are going on and when they're going to have it. They're going to have a fantasy type league going on. So I'm going to put that on the events page, and it's going to be a nice looking one too. So it's going to be like, oh, that's going on December 1st. I see there's 6 events. You click on December 1st and you can see a list of it with all the details. So finally, we're going to have a place where it's where you could see all these games going on, what you could look forward to in the next day, week, month.
Definitely very exciting things happen there. Another new site which you should all take a look at when you get a chance is builderzone.org. I will paste that in the chat right now. That is a site, I believe Gesture Logic and perhaps Greth from the EU are the ones working on that. So very exciting, kind of more blog and news style articles instead of NAtribes, which is more focused, of course, on events and things like that going on. So definitely a website worth checking out and checking back. Hopefully we'll kind of carry on the kind of content that spinfuser.org used to have. Of course, there's reddit.com/r/tribes. Definitely, probably the best place to go for kind of up-to-date news on everything happening in tribes. And if you are watching this from Australia or New Zealand or anywhere else in the area, you can check out bita.com. And I'll paste that in chat as well. It has kind of all the other details that would be relevant to people in that region of the world. Continuing on, there is, of course, a Steam group. You can find that from the NAtribes website in the bottom right of the main page. That will link you to this.
Mute yourself on screen.
That will link you to the Steam group, which you can join, and of course that's another way to go about getting up to date with all the different events happening. And then there are various Twitters, so you can follow at TribesPug or at NAtribes for all information regarding those two things. And I guess I will pass it off to the other folks here to tell you about any Twitters they may have.
Ooh, me. So I recently broke 300 followers this weekend.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you, and I want to thank everybody that has followed me. If you haven't followed me yet, it is the best place other than Reddit to find all this stuff out. Whenever I see there's a cast going live in the next 5-10 minutes, whether it's ESL or something irrelevant to Tribes, but it might be funny that I think for the Tribes community. It's at Hi-Res APC. I'm always there. It's on my phone. It's one of my priorities in life. um, and I want to touch upon, I have a draft tournament being made at the moment. It's being scripted up by Beast Knees. He's going to have a sign-up sheet, as well as a helpful tool for all the captains for it. Guys, let me just say it first. We need captains. I already know sign-ups haven't started yet, but we're going to need captains. So please step up if you know players in the community. If you feel like you can be a captain, don't hesitate. Don't think, "Ooh, when am I going to get picked in the draft? I want to know." It's really not that important, because then if that's the case, if we don't get enough captains, I'm going to have to randomly select teams. And there's going to be the teams that don't have anybody that's worth mentioning on it, possibly. Teams stacked with all the top tier players. The whole point of this draft tournament is to mix it up a bit, to have a couple top tier players, a couple new bloods, a couple random players that you could finally play with the people that you want in a competitive atmosphere. And it's going to be a 1 week thing. So here's the timeline, guys. I'm going to release more information as the week goes on, but this is how it goes. This is the plan as of now. Wednesday, Blue Plate Special goes on. We're going to listen to that. The EU community is going to be hosting a draft tournament at the exact same time. I'm working with them to have it kind of like the same format. So we're going to have signups live as soon as Blue Plate Special goes off, which is around 5 p.m. Eastern. I believe in the European scene, they're also doing a, I should say this. The Europeans are doing a World Cup. And we're going to start seeing more about that. You guys probably read that on Reddit. They're going to be announcing more of that on Blue Plate. But, okay, so back to the draft. The signups will open as soon as Blue Plate Special ends, around 5 p.m. Eastern, on Wednesday. That's Thanksgiving weekend. And then when it comes to Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to close the signups, and I've got to make sure, if you're going to be a captain, there's going to be a post later about this, but if you're going to be a captain, please try to make it on Monday. I mean, you pretty much have to make it on Monday. So that's going to be a requirement if you're going to sign up as a captain, because we're going to have the draft on Monday night at 7 o'clock. We're going to bring all the captains into Mumble. We're going to stream it so everybody can hear when they get picked, and we're going to pick the teams from there. From Monday night to Saturday morning is when all those captains can bring their teams together, practice if they want, get a IRC channel together, whatever. And then when it comes to Saturday, we're going to play every single game on Saturday. It's going to be a single elimination tournament so we can get all the games rolling. And the only game we're not going to play on Saturday is the finals. So on Sunday, we'll be able to sit back, watch the finals, and have a good time. So, the whole point of this is so if you sign up, you don't have to designate yourself a whole month of tribes. It's just you have to worry about the week after Thanksgiving. Either if you want to practice, or if you just want to play on Saturday and Sunday. And the single elimination will make things run through. It's going to be best out of 3, so it might be 2 maps, sometimes 3. And that's kind of how I ran things back in April for the other draft tournament. So it's going to be very similar if you guys are worried about, or if you are familiar with that. But if you guys have any questions, you guys want to help out, please, you can contact me anytime, anywhere you can find me. But that's the gist of it. I'll be making a more detailed post soon. Hope you're excited as I am.
And that was quite an information dump. Where are you going to be making that post so that people know where to look?
Everywhere. I'm going to go Reddit, my Twitter. It's going to be on the Hi-Res forums. It's going to be everywhere. I'm even going to probably post it on random forums like in Steam groups and 4chan. I don't know. I'm going to try to post it out there for everybody because I want newer players to be able to taste some competitive atmosphere. Hell, I might even put it on the patcher and the ticker if things look like they could be pretty enough.
That'd be awesome.
Actually, one of the most best days I ever had during T2 was a one-day tourney with the finals the next day, and it was just tribes all day long, one match after another. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, the draft tournament that was at the beginning of the tribes when the tribes launched, a lot of people are still say to this day that was the best tournament that we've had. It's just a lot of fun. It's been an opportunity for people just to get involved a little bit with some casual organized tribes. It's a low pressure. Like if you win, you lose. It's not a huge deal, but it's a lot of fun, and you don't have like these big problems with one team that's super dominant like you might have in some other scenarios. But
exactly.
It's a chance for everyone to play of all skill levels, And if you're interested in playing some more organized tribes, definitely check it out. It's going to be a great time for sure.
Yeah, and I got to touch upon, since we are having it hosted pretty much at the same time as the Europeans doing their draft tournament as well. We're going to try to get the team that wins the finals on Sunday for NA to play the team that wins the finals for EU. Ooh. And it'll be kind of cool. You'll be able to see the best teams that are drafted going against each other. And if things go well, I'm expecting a lot of players to go through this. If things go well, I will do this on a monthly basis, and maybe it won't be 7v7 next month. Maybe next month it'll be something with Blitz. Maybe I'm going to toy with this, but I think a draft tournament is a step in the right direction for not just really hardcore competitive players, but players that think they're not good enough to play on a team, or just like how we saw this weekend, we had the new blood pickups. They didn't play pickups because they feel like they're not going to be good enough or they're not ready for it. I see Jim laughing for whatever reason, and I do want to touch upon, I did mean behind the blue plate, not the blue plate special. I slip of the tongue.
Behind the blue plate, Wednesday is at what time? I know it's Pacific. It's noon Pacific. 3 p.m.
So it's 3 Eastern and 9 Central European time.
There you go. What time would that be Australian time?
All right. I'm not going that far.
Let's see if I can do this in my head.
I think it's 9 hours or 8 hours ahead of us.
Something like that, yeah. Well,
ahead of me, which is 3. So it's about like 1 a.m. for them or something.
Something like that. It's 1 or 2 a.m. Stay up and watch it. It's a good show. And if you don't watch it,
maybe it's more than that. I don't know. I really don't know. But for anybody, I mean, if there's enough interest, if someone from the Australian community is listening right now, send me a message on Twitch or online. What's that?
Lencorp from Australian community, he's in chat saying it's like 5 a.m. or something like that.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not
so
sure
exactly Lencorp, if you can get a hold of everybody there, I'm going to send it to them tomorrow when I get to work. But if you guys can also get a draft tournament, whipped up that quick, we can have a three timer going on. It could be pretty cool.
There you go. Coming together worldwide for some tribes for esports.
Tribes.
It's going to be good. Tribal Ascension.
Troops. And again, the shout out to everybody that came out last night, the Georgia Tech Game Fest LAN. That was fun. There was only about like 7-8 tribes players. It was all like League of Legends players, but it was still cool to meet everybody. Notable people there that you probably know is like Tanub, a few people from Puppy Kisses, Complex was there, so it was cool to see all them. We had a good time. I was up until 6 in the morning out there, so I think there was only 2 of us that made it that long. It was Complex and some other dude. Sorry, dude, I forgot your name.
We remember him. He was amazing.
He was a cool ass dude.
Freaky, yes, you got a Twitter or any shout outs or anything like that?
I don't have a Twitter or anything. I do have my Twitch account, twitch.tv/freaky. And just keep following IBN. We got Shoot Mania on Thursday. Tournament coming up in a couple of weeks in Texas, I believe we're going to be covering. A lot of stuff happening. Esports.
And if you want to follow me, you can follow me on twitter.com/dodgepong. I also have my YouTube channel where I upload all of my casts, youtube.com/dodgepong. And of course my Twitch channel where I broadcast matches, twitch.tv/dodgepong. And I believe that is all for me, and I think that is all we have on the show. Any last words, you guys?
One last thing I would like to say. I think there will be, on top of the draft tournament, another, I think, fairly exciting announcement coming Wednesday. I don't want to say too much about it right now, but I think what I can say is that the results of this tournament could be slightly more important than just who comes in first and second.
Ooh.
Prizes they win for coming in first or second. And we will have more details regarding that on Wednesday.
True that.
Word. Well,
but
guys.
Yeah, thanks Dodgepong for making all these graphics and all. Always kicking ass for us.
Well, Cosma. Thanks to Cosma. He was the one that made all his
production.
Graphics.
But yeah, Cosma. Screw Cosma, actually.
Wow.
Screw you, Cosma. No, Cosma's the man. But, Freaky, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I have one more thing to say. If you guys have... anybody wants to cast It's really super simple now with the Open Broadcaster. Look it up. Super simple. Don't even need. There you go. OBSproject.com. It doesn't even require that much processing power. So do that. And also, if you're good at graphics or whatever, hit us up and see what you can do.
All right, guys, I think that's going to be it for us. We're going a little bit over, but that's okay. I'm excited to bring you guys some esports action. Tune in, I think, next week. Hopefully, we're going to have this again. I won't be in because I'm going to be traveling, but we got some awesome Tribes action coming up for you. I am out, and I think that's going to be it for tonight. Peace out.
See you later, guys. Thanks for coming out.
Night, y'all.